It's been 2 months since I started microdosing with tirzepatide, and I'm happy to report there has been a satisfactory loss and the cementing of some really good habits. But there have also been some lessons. One, it's not just about the scale, and this journey isn't about chasing dramatic overnight results. It's steady progress, habits that actually stick, and giving myself the patience to grow stronger week by week. Join me as I chat about other important screening results on my health set journey, my experience with microdosing, and the lessons I've had to learn about managing expectations and the habits I'm now focusing on. I'm the Forest Fairy. Welcome to my corner of the woods, where I'm rebuilding, revamping, redesigning a magical life, and hopefully inspire you to gather your own fairy dust. Hello everyone, I hope you're having a fabulous week. Can you believe it? I'm 2 months into my health reset, and boy, I'm still learning life lessons well into my 60s, but more on that later. I haven't chatted to you in a while. On the one hand, life just sometimes happens, and there were all sorts of things, nothing terribly serious, that needed my attention. On the other, my face looked terrible, and my irritation levels were high for several weeks, all due to the skin reset that I committed to during this overall health reset. If you're new here or missed these conversations, I'll add the links to the ones on the chemotherapy treatment on my face somewhere here and below. I was advised by my dermatologist to treat my face as there were a few precancerous lesions. Anyway, that's now ticked off on my health list. The other two things that I also did these past few weeks were a mammogram and an IFI test for possible colon cancer. They were just routine checkups requested by my medical aid as a standard procedures, and all is well. The next is my annual health screening at the end of October, where they'll check my blood pressure, my glucose count, cholesterol, and my BMI. Last year, everything was great except my BMI, so I'm hoping that this time I'll be down a bit. Although I didn't have any major issues and don't take any chronic medication, I've been a bit slack about my checkups, with a few dating to pre-COVID. Am I the only one who was this lackadaisy? Are you up to date with your checkups and screenings? And just a reminder, I'm not a medical practitioner, and the content of my conversations are my own opinions and experiences. Please contact an expert in the field if you have medical questions or are worried about anything. Anyways, as I mentioned in my last conversation on my FUDEX journey, managing my expectations and applying patience are lessons that keep popping up in all areas of my health reset. I expected to have lost a lot more weight by now, but I didn't want the infamous Ozempic phase by losing it too fast. I expected to have all my good habits and behaviors in place already, but I didn't want to feel overwhelmed by the added pressure of too much too soon. I expected all my cravings to be gone, but still having the odd bar of chocolate. All contradictory expectations, I know, and you would think that at 62 I would know better. So what have I been learning is that losing weight is as much about emotions, baggage, and expectations as it is about my physical body. One such jumbled up issue was chocolate, and I'm not talking dark chocolate here. Some time long ago, I read that the craving for sweet things and the eventual diabetes is actually caused by a lack of joy in your life. Now, whether you subscribe to this idea or not doesn't matter, but it rings true in my life, and I've been able to link my cravings to times of sadness or overwhelm. Of course, it's not always so, but as a compromise, I eat a day-to-day, which I love, and I treat myself to a chocolate bar once a month. So there's no never ever again pressure to wipe something completely out of my life. The other emotional challenge was that I had to learn not to cringe or feel embarrassed when admitting that despite being on T-Tide for 2 months, I've only lost 5 kilograms. And really for me, this is an accomplishment. And in comparison to others, well, I remind myself that people aren't being rude when they ask, they are genuinely interested. I remember that health and weight loss isn't a competition with others, but solely with myself. And I console myself that slow and steady is the way to go. It gives my mind, body, and particularly my skin time to adjust as best it can at this stage of my life. But let's get to the stats. I'm down 5 kilograms to just under 70 kilograms, a place where I haven't been in a very long time. And I'm on the edge of moving from a BMI of over 30, which is considered obese, to just under, which is considered overweight. Hooray! My waist is now 98, 5 centimeters down from the original 104. The scale really plays tricks with your minds, so my gauge is my clothes. And best of all, my rings and my clothes, especially my jackets, bras and shoes, are much looser. And it's a great feeling to continually move down notches on a belt. There is one major reason why my weight loss is perhaps slower than others on the same medication, and that is because I'm microdosing. Gee whiz, and did that concept of microdosing and ordinary dosing confuse me in the beginning? The dosing pens and vials come in different dosages, and some need to be mixed. And then there are the various measurements. There's the milligrams, the milliliters, and the insulin units, which the latter is marked on the injections. You have to keep your wits about you and follow the instructions carefully. I gathered the following after much research. Remember to do your own research on sums and ask your practitioner for clarity if you are uncertain. As I understand it, most of the popular brands distributing GLP-1 and GIP use pre-filled single-use injection pens. They contain fixed dosages, 2.5 milligram, 5 milligram, and are ready to use. There's no measuring, calculating, or mixing required. Their recommended starting dose is usually 2.5 milligram once every week. I, on the other hand, receive my medication from a compounding pharmacy who provides vials of the medication, the injections, and instructions on mixing and injecting. This means that I have more control on how much I want to inject, which allowed me to go from my initial higher dose of 2 milligrams, where I experienced the side effects, to my current lower dosage of 1 milligram per week. And this dosage suits me fine, as I believe that while microdosing lessens the speed of weight loss, it still quietens the food noise and gives me the space to adjust my habits, behaviors, and choices. And whether this is true or not, I feel less dependent on the actual medication as the dose is so low. We'll see how true this is when I stop using it totally. The lower dosage has also allowed me to stretch my initial vial into a few weeks longer. But as I've often said, this journey is about balancing meds with real sustainable changes, rebuilding habits, addressing behaviors, and healing deeper issues. Did you hear how that just rolled off my tongue? Glib, believable, and easy? Ha, not so much. In real life, I have to have a daily conversation with myself about the benefits of excellent health. I have to use stern countdowns in the mornings to get out of bed, to go and walk, and I have to remind myself to make healthy choices when out grocery shopping. Tea Tide didn't miraculously increase my self-discipline levels to that of superwomen. I have to do that all by myself. I'm also managing my expectations and obsessiveness and learning to be kind to myself. One of the ways I do this is to tier my goals into minimum, momentum, and mastery. For example, with walking and fasting, minimum is 4 days a week, momentum is 5 days a week, and mastery is 6 and 7. I'm usually between minimum and momentum, and that's okay. Rather slow and steady like the tortoise than burn out like the hare. I recently saw a remarkable physical transformation of a woman on Instagram done over a period of 2 years. But what really got my attention is that she said she had implemented her exercise and nutritional habits in increments of months. For example, in the first 6 months, she only walked and reduced her carb intake. The next 6 months, she tackled a few more things, and so on, until 2 years later, she is lifting weights, walking 13,000 steps a day, counting her macros, etc., etc. I admit my walking has been the foundation of this health reset. It's easy to do, and it's just so motivating when I walk into the cottage and can cross off a major item as done before 8 in the morning. I apply the Japanese interval walking method, 5 bursts of 3 minutes of walking as if I'm late for a meeting, which I certainly know how to do, alternated with 5 gentle bursts of ordinary walking. And as the months have passed, I'm now fitter and faster, and my initial goal of 8,000 steps a day in total has risen to 10,000. I know there's a debate around this figure, but for now it works as an interim goal for me. I still need a stern word to get out of bed in the morning, but I have made it easier by putting out my exercise clothes and the dog's leashes and poo bags the night before. My other two habits are also still on track. 2 liters of water intake daily and intermittent fasting, with a fasting window of between 16 and 18 hours most days. Walking falls into the fit category of my 5 pillars of vitality, while water intake falls into the healthy category and fasting into the lean category. I'm sharing my health reset journey with you, not so that you should copy it exactly, but so that it inspires you to create your own journey, to decide for yourself, and with maybe the guidance of a coach or a doctor, if need be, on how you want to do it, what would be the best for you. Your health and habits may look nothing like mine, but I'm encouraging you to be powerful and start one step at a time. It's scary, I know, but I'm learning to live that popular meme. But what if I fall? Oh my darling, what if you fly? Okay, once I was really comfortable with these habits, I started focusing more on my actual nutrition, which also falls into the lean category. During the first 6 weeks, I just ate less and more healthy, but didn't actively measure anything. Now I'm once again counting my macros so that I have concrete stats on how much and what I'm eating. I can so easily fool myself around portions, so it's good to get my eye in again. It's reminding me of what 30 grams a portion of protein, be it chicken, pork or mince, actually looks like. Whether I'm consuming too much fat or whether my veggies cover the spectrum. I've used ChatGPT to help me calculate my macros according to my height, my current weight, my desired weight, and the deadline and my exercise routine. And once I had that, I added it to the My Macros app. This is such a handy app. Although customizing it with your favorite foods does take time initially, it's well worth the effort, as it makes planning a daily menu so much easier. I haven't got to weekly meal prepping yet, but I do plan my days in batches of 2, as I don't mind eating the same stuff 2 days in a row. And to make food planning and prepping easier, I implemented a few hacks. The first one is to do the day's meal planning and some of the prepping as soon as I get home from my walk. This makes the meals later a lot easier. The second hand is to have a running grocery list on hand so that I can immediately jot down any items that needs replacing or is needed for a recipe. The third hack is that aside from the above must-buys, I take a good look at everything in the fresh produce aisle and make an effort to add different types of veggies to my meals every week. Otherwise, I'll get stuck with coleslaw and baby jimmies. The fourth hack is that my kitchen scales and measuring utensils are kept together and close, which saves time scrabbling in cupboards in search of a measuring spoon. You get the idea. Your hacks to make your health journey a lot smoother and easier may be totally different from mine, but it's good to have them, especially when the going gets tough. So there you have it, 2 months on my journey and a couple of good habits being cemented. Are you on a health reset? Please share what you're focusing on and how it's going. A few words from you may just change someone else's life. In the next conversation, I'll chat about strength training and what I want to do to keep flexible. I'll also share my habit tracker. If you enjoyed this conversation, you may like the one on why I began with the health reset. I'll link that conversation somewhere here and below. Wishing you a week filled with healthy habits and, of course, sprinklings of fairy dust. Until next time, goodbye.